Welcome everyone. Today I will have you review the recent questions that came in level 5 CR exams in March 2026. The problem is, although I already requested this on my WhatsApp channel, but I don't receive the precise questions from level 5. So I just use the best information I have for L5M1 and L5M4. For L5M4, I think that at least I have pretty specific topics for the exam. But for L5M1, the information is a little bit obscure, and I'm not sure they are the topics that came in March exam. Anyway, regardless, I still have you to review the topics that I at least see from the group chat. So really what I collect from different information and from the group chat for FM1 and FM4. With FM1, I could see that students sitting the exam reported about scientific measurement, about diversity, about effective listening and communication, and yeah, this one is a little bit obscure about the objectives of an effective team. I think I need to have more specific information here. And if you have already know about this, please share with me to the chat. For farm 4, I see that there are 4 questions as well. And more apparently, I can see that there are some questions that they can be quite confident about, like about the market factors in strategic sourcing, and then forwards contract and benchmarking. But the first question, it was to put verbatim word here. It is about the cost evaluation. But cost evaluation is a part of control word, which is a part of sourcing. So I think that to put it better in different perspective to take the one that we're from for, I think the question here was about the source of information about the cost performance of the supplier. So I don't have the precise information. Feel free to correct me if I don't have the correct topic. And if you can provide the more details of the question, the better. I am helping you. So I just want to help. And if I don't have exactly question, I still help you to answer the general topic. But if you have specific question, that would be better. That may help other students to ace the exam. Okay, so feel free to correct me during the event, during the revision. Now, we shall go into the details. First, with L5M1, we have a few topics. I am quite certainly that the first question was about scientific measurement. So as you know, it is a classical principle of measurement, and this is a measurement method suggested by Frederick Taylor, an engineer, when he worked at the Midvale Steel Company. He saw that there must be some way to improve the output and keep the labor cost low. So he suggests a few key principles to improve the performance and improve the productivity. So these principles include first, every work, every step must be optimized through the exercise of benchmarking. Here, he implied that we need to study from the best in class or the best practice possible for every task. And once we learn about the best process to do, then we should apply them. So this is optimization. This is continuous improvement and benchmarking, as we know in modern business language. Second, he emphasized about the specialization and especially about specialization between workers and managers. So every worker focus on a single task. Every worker should focus on a single task, and he or she must excel on the task. And the manager focus on planning, coordination, reporting, and adjustment. So everyone has their own work, and that may deliver the best result. And third, Frederick Taylor suggested that to encourage the good work, to encourage the productivity, then the organization should financially reward the worker, and they may apply pay bonus or extra payment or bonus price for the worker for every good performance. However, scientific measurement is pretty very old. As you see, this one was originated from 19th to 20th century. So it is already 100 and 150 years since the birth of these principles. And it faced a lot of criticism from other study and other opinions. So as you can see, scientific measurement focuses only on optimization and maximizing on profitability. Therefore, as a result, it dehumanizes workers. It means like not treating the workers with dignity and respect, but treat them as a mere cog in the machine. So they are just the mechanical parts of some bigger machine, of a profitability machine. So this is a very um, high level of dehumanization. Dehumanization. Second, with scientific measurement, Taylor only focused on financial reward, and he didn't offer any other type of motivation. So he just assumed that the workers are maybe more motivated by getting more money. But as you can see in modern world and as we progress, this view is wrong. People may have other priority like family, like prestige, like opportunity, and so on. So this view kind of limit what the organization may offer to the workers. Third, especially with specialization, it may alienate the worker from their task and make them feel like they don't find any meaning from the work and losing the motivation accordingly. So specialization means every worker should focus only one task for their entire work life. Therefore, they don't feel any meaning. They don't have any real interaction, and that may alienate themselves from the work, and then that may lead to dissatisfaction and very um, and maybe the anger from the worker. They may strike, they may disrupt the work, they may be lazy at work. So all of these are uh, they are the results of alienation. And finally, his theory offers very little to no growth opportunities for the workers. Since you see, we have a deep specialization between workers and managers. So basically, a worker cannot become manager without going through formal training or something like that. And that may limit their promotion ladder and promotion route. So it doesn't offer any real opportunity. And for worker, the best they can do is to continue to perform their job and getting more money. So pretty meaningless, especially for the talented people. However, it is without saying that scientific measurement is pretty successful. It actually improved the productivity at Midvale Steel Company and other company at the time, and it pushed the industrialization in the United States during the end of 19th century and early 20th century. So it is helpful, and it still leaves us some lesson to today. So we still strive for the best. We still learn from the best. And we still look at continuous improvement and benchmarking as necessary and strategic practices as modern organization. So we can still optimize, deliver the best thing from our work by learning from the best. Second, the specialization of scientific management is very effective. Therefore, we can still apply them until today. The task assignment specialization may be based on talent and qualification, but it should leave the rooms for the worker to grow. So scientific management is not entirely wrong, but we may combine it with other theories and with other practices that may make it more human, that may make it more adaptable and agile in modern business environment. So that is some of my notes about scientific management. Now, let me move on the second question. As I am aware, this question was about the benefits of, sorry, actually it was, as I can see from the group, it was just about diversity. And based on my own experience with SIP, then I assume that this question was about the benefits of diversity. So, as you know, diversity means we combine the work or we combine the individuals from different backgrounds, from different genders, religions, um, social status, ethnic group, or belief into a team and make them work together. That kind of combination and working may offer a few or some great benefits. Like first, we have different perspectives about the job, and that may encourage more creative solution to the current problem. Second, it may encourage a culture of mutual understanding and learning from each other. And it may promote the satisfaction through social interaction between different members. And a company or an organization with diversity may attract higher attention and offer better brand image. So this is a very simple answer to the benefits of diversity. You may add other benefits as you see fit, and especially if you have the precise question, please send me, and I may correct my answer as well. I may customize my answer here, my suggestion here. The third question, as far as I am aware, the message says about the objectives of an effective team. So as you know, when we do the teamwork, then our objective here is just getting the things done, because that job or that work is impossible to complete as individual. So we need to have a teamwork. So the objective here tend to be just finish the task, and we cannot analyze that objective anymore, because we often do teamwork as the job requires. But I think that I can expand a little bit on this. And when we talk about the effective team, then we can talk about the necessary components for an effective team. So I decide to expand a little bit and talk about this one. For the effective team components, I use the IPO process. I use the IPO model to analyze. First, IPO means input, process, and outcome. It divides the components of success into three parts. First, the input. Input means what are included or what will be sent or what will be allocated to the team. The process means how the team work together, how the team members work together, and how they function. And the outcome means what to be achieved by an effective team. Maybe, maybe the question, if if it like this, it may go like this, it may go like this. It may ask like analyze the outcome of an effective team. So you can expand on all of these topics. Okay, I need to adjust this one a little bit. So when we talk about effective team, you can use IPO model. For the input, an effective team should have, of course, the objectives. The objective here may be assigned by the organization or required by the task itself. Second, we need to have the members, and they need to have sufficient or appropriate expertise, right? And we have the composition here, like we may combine a team from different background, from procurement, from project management, from finance, from engineering, etc. And then a team to function, they need to have the financial resources and other resources, maybe information, maybe human resources, maybe assets and other necessities. And finally, of course, the ability, skills of the member, expertise, qualification, and experience, all of them are the input to a team. Second, when we talk about the process, then the process is the way that the team works together, the team members work together. So we have a few elements here, like we have the leadership, how the team is led, and what is the style of the team leader. And then we have the task assignment, how the tasks are assigned or are allocated among the members. And then we have communication, how frequent they communicate with each other, and what kind of information they share with each other, and so on. And we have conflict resolution, how the team resolve the conflict together, how they deal with each other, and how they may overcome the differences in perspective and in personality. And last but not least, the norms and culture, how the team create a culture together, how they uh, form a norm that may help them function and achieve the desired outcome. Finally, with the outcome, we have some measures of the team success, like whether they achieve their objectives, whether they achieve their initial objective, whether the members are satisfied with the outcome and with the process of working together, and whether the members have learned from the process, has learned from the teamwork, and whether they are growing and gaining experience from each other. So when we analyze about the effective team, then we can use this kind of model. It summarizes the team quite easily and quite memorable. I think that you can apply this model both in the exam and in your day-to-day work. Now, for the fourth question, I see that maybe we have a question about effective listening. So I'm not very certain about this. And again, if you have more specific information, please send it to the chat. So effective listening is an essential skill for a leader. And this part is located in chapter 4 of L5M1. It means that the necessary skill for a procurement manager. So it is a skill, therefore it has some objective or benefits. The objective of effective listening is to get insight into the other person, the other people, emotions and mood, and understand how they feel, how we can help them, how we can overcome their fear, or how we can share their happiness, and so on. Effective listening is also a part of communication. When we understand their insight, then we can guide them or we can communicate our concern, communicate the task, and help them deliver the outcome. So it is a very essential skill, and we can do that through several steps, or we can do that through several actions. Effective listening has a lot of requirements. Like first, at least we should listen or hear attentively, but this is just the passive part of listening. Listening not just about hearing, just hearing alone, then we cannot get the insight. But we must uh, provide some feedback or having engaged in two-way communication, like asking questions to clarify and making eye contact, and keep your mind open, non-judgmental, feedback or summarize what they have said by paraphrasing, like in summary. Then I think you mean that, etc. By that way, then you can understand them better, or at least showing that you are listening and you are paying very close attention to their stories. And finally, we should observe their nonverbal signs, their nonverbal cues, like their posture, their eye view, um, their tone of voice, and so on. So listening skills include a lot of activities, and it requires our energy and our focus to do so. So with this question, I think that if there was this question, then probably they are asking about how you may apply the effective listening in certain scenario. Okay, so it is just my assumption. And again, I want to have the space question, but quite impossible now. So send me if you have any. And I'm happy to revisit this part and help you to answer those questions. Now, we shall move on FM4. At least on this part, I think at least I had three quite specific questions, and I may help you on that. First, this one I'm not quite certain. Maybe just my assumption. Maybe this question was about the sources information for cost-based assessment or cost-based metrics. We should put everything in perspective. So chapter one, mostly about the KPI and some supply chain measures that can be used to assess or to measure or to evaluate the supplier's performance of contract. It has four parts. The first part about KPI, the second part about the measures in supply chain, the third part about supplier development, and the fourth part about ESG assessment. So as long as I know, this could be about how we can collect information for cost by KPI. Uh, during the contract performance, we can check whether the supplier is delivering true cost saving or whether they are just sufficiently provide us with the goods and service, and they are charging us some premium price, which we don't like. So we need to monitor their cost and price accordingly. And this question asks about how we can collect and benchmark the prices altogether. So I think that if that was the question, then this would be the answer. First, we should collect the information about the price through their quotations, the written contract, and the invoices, and also from their catalog or database. Second, we can benchmark their prices against the published indices like the commodity price or against other quoted price from other supplier if you don't have any indices. And then we can benchmark their cost based on the whole life cost analysis or from our historical data. Here, I still assume it is just a question about potential sources information for cost-based KPI. And again, if you have specific question, feel free to correct me. Maybe this is not the correct question, but I just suggest a few things that I believe to be the question, and maybe if this was the question, then this would be the answer. The second question is much clearer. As I'm aware, this is a question about the Porter's five forces and its impact, the impact of market factor analysis on strategic sourcing. So remember that when we reach this level, when we study on L5M4, then the five forces model is no longer like L5M2. It is not a tool for analyzing supply market, but it is a tool to analyze the industry. And this model focuses on the competitive forces that shape the industry structure and profitability. So stronger the forces, then the thinner profitability for the firm in that industry. For example, I may take like the retail industry. They have very fierce competition. They have pretty strong buyers bargaining power because the buyer here, the customers may they have a lot of choices and they may switch from one supplier to another. So they have the choices, and they can switch easily. Therefore, they tend to have higher bargaining power. And the supplier tend to be also plenty, but for certain strategic resources, then that could be competitive. Therefore, the overall profitability for retail cannot be so high. But a firm may outcompete other rivals by the term of profitability if they apply appropriate strategies. So to apply the five forces model on strategic sourcing, then we need to analyze each of the force and how they impact on our sourcing strategy. There are five forces. As you remember, maybe we have competitive rivalry, the threats of new entrant, bargaining power of buyers, bargaining power of supplier, and the threat of substitution. To put it in perspective with part of five forces model and with original use as in L5M4, our company is staying within the competitive rivalry, and we are dealing with both the power of our customers, means the power of buyer, and the power of our supplier, right? So we are squeezed by five forces. We are squeezed by five forces. Now, let me analyze each of the force. Um, if the question come with a scenario, then you need to analyze each of force by from the scenario details. Like about competitive rivalry, you should apply look for the details highlighting the competition within that industry. Whether the industry is highly concentrated, like we have some very big player on the top, and then we are just a small company at the bottom, and then whether the customer have high switching costs or they can switch their supplier easily, they can switch the company easily, and whether the exit barrier high or whether the products are different or they are standardized. All of those questions may improve or decrease the competitive rivalry, and they may lead to some sourcing strategy. For example, if the industry is highly concentrated and we are just a very small company in that very large industry, then we need to adapt by getting or looking at the niche market where the larger competitor may overlook. They may overlook, and we may develop some products for that niche market. Caps. That is one strategy. If the customer have high switching costs, then we should find the pain point and try to reduce their cost. If the product in this industry is highly standardized and there's no and the customer care for doesn't care about they don't care about the quality much, then we should prioritize for cost leadership. Cost leadership. If the products are highly differentiated, then we need to focus on differentiation and offer the features that the customer want, etc. So they may affect our sourcing strategy. Second, we have the threat of new entrants. The threat of new entrant examine different entry barriers to entry, like the capital requirement, legal requirement, customer loyalty, brand recognition, access to distribution channel, etc. So in industry analysis like this, normally we are the existing company within an existing industry, and we may face the competition from other new entrants. Other new entrants may enter and take away our market share. So here, the sourcing strategy may have very little to offer because the industry structure and procurement normally doesn't have much influence over that. But we can increase the barrier to entry by getting the customer brand loyalty or increase the switching cost from our company to the competitor. Okay, we can do so by certain strategy like getting another supplier with better customer service, or improve the customer loyalty by offering the loyalty reward, and so on. Next, we have the bargaining power buyers. Remember that the buyers here are our customer, the customers of our company. So you can collect the details from the scenario, like whether the buyers are concentrated, do they face any switching costs, or do they have any substitution, do they know about this product, and are they price sensitive. And if the buyers are more powerful, when they have higher bargaining power, then we may need to reduce our price or offer more benefits. But that may relate to the sourcing strategy. We may want to hold the information better, so we may sign non-disclosure information with the supplier that we keep the information from the buyer and move them into the weaker position. And if the customer are more price sensitive, then we can focus on cost leadership and select suppliers based on the cost mostly, and also smoothing or reduce the friction between the suppliers and the organization. Similarly, we have the bargaining power of suppliers and the threat of substitution. We also examine similar factors like whether the supplier offer differentiated product, or whether the supply market concentrated, or is there any bottleneck in the market. So, it also depends on the scenario. And finally, we have the threat of substitution. Is there any viable threat? Is there any viable substitution? And whether they offer better price to cost advantage than a product or not. So here, it requires procurement to have an comprehensive, to have a holistic analysis of the industry and adjust our sourcing strategy accordingly. We should find for the pain points from customer perspective and source the product accordingly. We can try to find a niche market and find an innovative supplier that may offer the new product to that niche market. We may find the pain points and collaborate with the supplier to improve the current offering. We can try to improve our service and customer loyalty by getting the higher performance supplier, or we can reduce the bargaining power of suppliers by develop promising suppliers by under the supplier development program, and so on. So with sourcing strategies, with industrial analysis, we should find what could be the pain points, what could be improved, and formulate our strategies accordingly. So every case is unique. And again, if you have the specific details, tell me. The third question is pretty straightforward about the advantages and disadvantages of the forwards contract. To avoid typo, then I strongly recommend that you should write forward with an S here. When we don't have the S, the forward means an adjective. It is not a type contract, but it is simply an adjective. An adjective, an adjective. So the contract itself should be the forwards contract. First, before we talk about this, then the forward contract is a contract that trade the commodity or the currency in a point in the future, with two parties agree to buy or sell the commodity with fixed price and delivery date in the future. So it is the most basic form of hedging. We sign a contract with a supplier and fix the price in the future. We don't face the fluctuation during the time we sign the contract. So it offers some basic protection against the price movement. First, the forward contract tend to be OTC or over the counter. In other words, you and your supplier may negotiate whatever you want. So the contract is highly customizable. You can negotiate with the supplier about the date of delivery, the commodity specification, the price, and other matters as you see fit. These contracts tend to be private, and the details of the contract depends on negotiation and the parties' bargaining power. This kind of contract may fix the price for time and hedge against the price movement in the future. However, it just offer a very basic protection, and anyone, any company in the market may negotiate such contracts. So it offered almost no barrier to entry. Anyone can do this. Anyone can negotiate the contract. Anyone can sign the contract. No requirements. However, since the full contract is highly customizable and OTC, so it has some disadvantage and some risk. First, when you deal with well-known or respectable suppliers, then the contract may be like focusing on small quantity. Then you may get less for rate and price. That's the one thing. Um, and you may check the future contract or future price on the open market. You can see that the future price tend to be lower than in the individually negotiated contract like forward. Second, when we sign the contract with a supplier, then supplier may be frustrated or they may face the default risk. That both of that ending in the supply disruption and the consequence that we always want to avoid. We have Normally we have no procedure for confirmation for identity check. This is contrast to the futures contract, where everything is traded on a centralized market, on a centralized exchange. So every participant, every buyer and sellers must be qualified. They must submit a form. They must pay an admission fee. So everything must be confirmed, must be public. But with full contract, then we must do that by ourselves, and that it may increase the risk of fraud and default. Third, the forward contract is in essence a contract. Therefore, it offers the obligations. It offers no rights. It offers some rights, but mostly once you are committed to the contract, then you are required to pay the supplier, and the supplier is required to provide you with the goods or commodity. So it is quite inflexible, and this contrasts to the options, where in the option you have the right, not obligation. You may execute the option by the right, or if you don't like, then you may forego the option. So the inflexible. Once enter the contract, if you don't perform, then um, you may risk breaching of the contract, and you may face litigation or uh, paying the damages to the supplier. So this is another disadvantage. And finally, since for contract are OTC and they don't have any standardization, we cannot trade the contract away when we don't need it anymore. We Our option include canceling the or terminate the contract, or we may breach the contract. But both of those options are costly and require negotiation with the supplier. This is also contrast to futures where the contracts are standardized and you can trade the contract on an open market when you don't need the contract anymore. Then you can trade the contract away and getting back your money depending on the market price. So the future contract tend to be more liquid and can be traded among the investors, while the forward are less standardized, and of course they are less liquid, and we cannot trade away the unneeded contract anymore. Thank you, Caroline. The question 4 of L5M1 is about importance of effective listening and communication in a procurement function. So this is within expectation. And as I know, then effective listening could help you to get inside, could help you to communicate better, could help you to collaborate better, and could help you to improve the relationship. And for that question, you can also write about the necessary components of effective listening, like that. Okay, thank you, Caroline. Caroline, if possible, can you write other questions as well? Can you provide me with the details of other question in L5M1 as well? I would like to correct what I have here. Now, let's continue with L5M4, and the final question also quite expected. That is about benchmarking. What I see, the message I see from the group also just say about benchmarking without specific question. So I just provide you with a general framework of how I answer about benchmarking. First, of course, we need to tell the assessor what does it mean by benchmarking, maybe including the benefits of benchmarking, and of course, the key steps or the process of benchmarking. So first, benchmarking is an advanced technique, or it is a practice, a strategic practice in which a company measures its performance against the best-in-class comparator or company and determine how good they are. Then determine to improve the performance to reach the best-in-class level with a very clear plan to execute. Benchmarking is not comparison. Comparison means you just compare yourself with another person. It means like you know that there are some differences between the two, but you don't act anything. You just know about differences. Benchmarking means we look at the best in class performance and try to understand how they can achieve that level of performance and apply to us like how we can achieve that level of performance. We need to learn from the best in class and apply in our specific situation. So benchmarking is pretty difficult because it requires a lot of effort and a lot of data collection. First, for benchmarking process, first we need to identify the type benchmarking and the who is the best in class team or organization. There are four type benchmarking. We have internal benchmarking, um, comparative benchmarking, functional benchmarking, and general benchmarking. Each type benchmarking has their own advantages and disadvantages. And now we need to identify which type benchmark we want to do and who is the best in class in each case. Internal benchmarking requires us to look at the performance of other departments or other team and decide which team is the best. The three other types of benchmarking are about the external organization. We need to identify which one is the best and learn from them. After the first step, in the second step, we collect the data and measure our company's current performance and the best in class performance, how far they are from our current performance, and how we can close the gap. This one is also known as gap analysis. That is gap analysis. Now, third, we can compare our performance and identify where the gap is, what is the reason for the gap, and learn the practice, learn from them. Okay, and that is the fourth step. We learn their practice, learn how to close the gap, and standardize the practice in our company, make a clear plan, and with a clear deadline for on certain day we may close the gap by certain degree. And then we may apply those steps, we may apply those actions and improve our performance. And of course, we need to constantly monitor whether we are really closing the gap, or whether the gap is expanding, and so on. Anyway, benchmarking is a difficult exercise, and it requires a lot of effort, a lot of data analysis, and a lot of planning. So it requires a lot of resources. Therefore, we need to have the buy-in from the senior management and the support from other stakeholders. So that is the final question I have today. And if you are interested in our event, then you may contact us on WhatsApp with this number, or through our email at evacument@evacument.edu.vn, and we shall publish the recording as well as the presentation to our website at en.evacument.edu.vn. Thank you very much. And if you have specific question, you may send us an email, or you may send us the feedback right now. I may help you to correct my answer. If you want to share the question through email, then I will welcome that, and I may make the correction in the recording email that I send out to the participants today. So thank you very much for your attention, and expect to see you again in other revision by Evacument. Goodbye for now.